odd tea kettles that I pick up from I pick up from yard sales and stuff. So every one I've done is a little bit different size. See, this one's different. They're all a little bit different in the way they're made. But those are, you know, I sell these like one at a time, one of a kind. They're not something that I can repeat because they're the way they're made. And this one I've just took the lid off of. And I'm going to start first and show you how I did the painting on it to get that effect, to get the effect of the colors. I forgot what we call it now. Ombre effect. But they don't, when they're first done, see, they don't look good. That don't look nothing great when you're doing it and getting the colors on there. It's after all the other stuff's on it and you varnished it. The varnish just makes it pop out, and then after you get all the other stuff on it, it looks a whole lot better. But when you're putting it on, you think, well, this is just not going to work, but it will. Okay, I'm going to start. I'm trying to read between what I'm talking. I'm trying to look there and read at what I'm doing. My thing on my iPad down here is not working. My iPad has reached a point, this one that I have, I've got my second iPad, and the only thing I hate about the Apple things is after a while you can't update them. And then they start acting up and things, so it's just certain things I can do on the iPad. The rest of it, you know, I'm doing on the one I'm filming on is an Android, a tablet. Okay, I've got my colors out over here, and I've got my painting medium. And you use quite a bit of painting medium on this one. I've got my painting medium. I've got yellow, which I have chosen banana cream. These are all Deco Arts, Americana colors. So I've got banana cream, and I've got jack-o'-lantern orange, which you could use any orange, but you don't want to use that dark shade that we use on the what is it we put on the other things. This you don't want to use this real dark burnt orange. It's a little bit too dark. You need you need some kind of bright orange. So this one is called jack-o'-lantern. And then I've got let's see, yellow, orange, black. I've got black out. And then I've got my painting medium, and my purple that I use, this happens to be a folk art purple that I liked. You could use any purple that you want to use, but this one happens to be folk art, and it's called eggplant. So, and this one was kind of thick in the bottle. But I've put some of all of those out on my palette over here. And I'm going to work back and forth with those colors, playing in the colors with my medium. So I'm going to start down on the bottom of the tea kettle. I'm going to start, and I'm going to put some black in there. Okay, now I'm going to pick up medium on my brush first, pick up some of that painting medium, and this time I'm kind of wetting my brush because I want that paint to move real good. So I'm picking that up. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of black, and I'm just going to go in here. Your strokes are going to all go back and forth, not up and down. You're going to go back and forth all the time that you're working with your brush to keep your lines in the right. See, I've just gone in with the black on that one. And I'm just going to go right on around and put that black on the bottom. No certain amount, because this is an easy thing, because if you goof it up, you can let it dry and you can go right back in and start all over. So you're not going to mess up anything. Okay, I've put some black all the way around. Now I'm going to use that same black, same brush, never cleaning my brush. I'm going to use that same brush with the black on it, and I'm going to add the orange. And I'm going to go right in here above that. And that's a little bit too wet, so I'm going to blot my brush a little bit. I got a little bit too much painting medium on there. And I'm going to pick up some of my orange. I think orange was my next one. And as the black and the orange meets each other, it just kind of blends the two together. You don't want any harsh lines to show. So you're just kind of blending it back and forth with the two colors until you get to thing. And as you come up, just pick up the orange. I've still got some black in my brush, but now I'm just picking up the orange. We'll do this side, and then we'll sneak around to the other side. And you want your paint to move good, but you don't want it to be watery. So if it's too watery, just blot it on your towel or the rag, whatever you're using. I keep a rag handy, so just blot your brush, then go back in and pick up your paint so you don't get too wet. Now I've got the orange on there. I'm going to add some yellow. So I'm going using those three. There's 4 colors. I started with the black at the bottom, and I'm going to end up with the purple at the top. See how that's just going around in there? And you just have to play with it. Like I said, it really won't show good until you get all your other work on it. So don't worry about it, you know, being too streaked or whatever. Now I'm going to pick up some purple, go up here to the top, and kind of work my purple around the top, and then pull it right down into the yellow and blend those together. Where the two meets, you don't want any harsh lines where the two colors are meeting. You just want to work it to where one just kind of blends down into the other. Using a light touch so that I get the brush strokes. You can see your brush strokes going around, but if you come like this and you stop, then you're going to see a real harsh brush stroke. So kind of work those out. Just a light touch till you don't have any real harsh spots in there. Just a, Lord, there's a hair on my, well, see if I can get that off there. If I can't, I'll just work with it. Go down to a, must have got in my white paint. Sure enough. I sprayed it white first, and I have a hair in that white paint. So now I'm over to tweezers. Gosh almighty, it's right down in that white paint. I don't want that there. But I can't get it out. So I guess I just work with it. Okay. I'll have to make sure I put something on there that covers that up. Okay, I'm back up here to my purple and just kind of working my way down it then. Okay. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate that. Many, many years of practice, girls. You can do anything you set your mind to. And what you like and what the next person likes. Thank goodness we all like different things. Because no two are, you know, no two people are going to do the same thing, and no two's going to look alike. So don't worry about that. Now when this dries a little bit, if you want to go back and reinforce some of those colors, you can do. And I'm just going to light stroke around so that I don't end up with any real harsh spots there where the brush strokes show. Just very light touch. Now see, I went from dark on the bottom all the way up to the purple on the top. Now I'm going to go around to the other side, and I've got black on the bottom, but it's kind of dried on me, so I'm going to go back in and set some of that black back on there. Pick up a little bit of my medium, and now start with my orange. The thing is, girls, don't be afraid of trying something new. You know, don't be afraid while thinking, when you're looking at something, you think, I can't do that. But when you're working on it at the same time that you're looking at it, you can do that. Put out some more orange paint. And like I said, when you get your colors on, if you want to go back after it's dry and change them a little bit, you can do that. Okay, now I'm up to my yellow. Putting the yellow on here. You could do this on anything if you wanted to use. If you wanted to put the ombre on other colors on something else, it'd be the same way here that you would be doing it. Now I'm up to my purple. When you get to a point where you got it covered and you're still not happy with it, then stop and let it dry. And then go back, because if you keep working on it, if you just keep putting it on there and putting it on there, it'll get so thick and muddy on you that, you know, you'll have to do it all over anyway. So just reach a point where you're about happy with it, or you think you are, and then stop on it and wait till later in the day or tomorrow. That's why I do multiple pieces at one time. You know, I'm working on gingerbread here behind me, and I've got about 6 going at the same time. Okay, now see, I went all the way around there. Right there's kind of a harsh place, so I'm going to go back in there, pick up a little medium, a little yellow, a little orange, and go right back in there with that and get rid of that real harsh spot there. Working it all the way around to get rid of that. Now, see? We're going from orange. We went from black to orange to yellow and then up to the purple. And now I've got it kind of all the way around. It just looks really like, just kind of like a night sky. You know, if you just keep working with it, that's just about what it looks like, a night sky. And I like the purple to be kind of dark. So after that dries up there on the purple, I'll go back and reinforce that purple a little bit because I want it a little darker at the top. And I'm going to paint the lid purple. But like I said, if you keep playing with it, it'll just be muddy. So stop, let it dry. That's why I didn't try to do it and dry one and then work on it for you. But that's just about what you got. So you've got colors going all the way around there. And then you're ready to work on it after it dries. You got to let it dry before you start doing any stenciling and stuff on it. And then I might as well, while I got my paint out, I might as well paint this lid with my purple while I've got that color out. Probably take 2 coats. They have a lot, Gatlinburg always has a lot of new crafters in the summertime because they're people, you have to get in their show, you know, to work that show in the fall, which is the good money-making show. To work it in the fall, you have to do your paintings in the summertime. You know, you have to do some of the summertime shows before they're going to let you. And then a lot of people, you know, they come the summertime thinking it's going to be like fall, and when it's not, they either don't make any money or they lose money. Then they think, well, fall's the same way, I'm not coming back out here. So they don't come back. But now the fall is totally different than the summertime. In the summertime, people's got kids to feed and vacationing, and, you know, it's just a different crowd of people. Okay, now I put the purple on that, and that's just 1 coat. I'll have to go back. And the lid, this up here will be black. That is black, and all of the rest of this gets painted black. I did this part right here, and these get painted. You just go down to a smaller brush, and you paint that all the way in with black. Now see, I see down here, this tea kettle's rounded on the bottom, so I may have to paint it and then set it up, you know, like so, to let that dry good, because it goes down into a round on the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to set that one aside. Get rid of that one. And we're going to switch over to one of these that's already dry. Okay, now this is the one I'm going to work on today. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get a new palette because I've got such a mess over here on this one that I want to start with a clean palette to work on that, even though I'm using some of the same colors. My palette paper, girls, is wax paper, and it comes in a box, what they wrap sandwiches in. I buy it at Sam's, and it's made for the sheets like older restaurants, drive-ins and stuff used to use it to wrap hot dogs in. You know, it's about that size, or a sandwich paper, and it's already cut into that size for you. Just lay it in my palette and push it down and keep that sponge underneath wet. Okay? When you freeze. Okay. Okay, now what I've done here, I've looked through my patterns and I've tried to pick out some of the things. This one, see, I've got some on this one. I penciled Boo on that one. I've got Boo on there. I'm going to draw a moon. I drew me a round circle for a moon, and then over here I've got a witch sitting by the thing, with the pot, stirring a pot. So I've got that one already on the board. Let me get rid of this tea kettle here. Well, I've run out of room, girls. Too much stuff sitting around me. I've got to get it done, get it finished up and cleaned out. See, I've got back here, I'm working on teapots, and I'm doing gingerbread on them. And I've got all different sizes. I've got about 5 pieces back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 pieces I'm doing all at one time. But now these I used the stencils, which I used some of the stencils and some of it I freehand. But if I want to use a stencil on these rounded tea kettles, I take my white charcoal pencil, as I find what I've done with it. Okay, see, I've got a charcoal pencil here as a white chalk pencil. And you can get these. I think I might have put them in the guides. You can see where to get them. This is just, I keep a pencil sharpener behind me, and these need to be real sharp. Okay, so this little guy here has a cat. See, there's a little cat right down in the bottom of that stencil. And I just lay that down on my tea kettle. I laid it down there, and I traced inside, because it's, you know, it's rolled over. You have to do it a little bit at a time. I just took my chalk pencil and I went inside and I traced that little cat with my chalk pencil and made his things around me like that. Let's see if that's something I need to answer. Nope. I've been getting junk calls all morning. Okay, and then I drew a circle on here for the moon. I drew a circle for the moon, and I took another little witch over here out of the thing. See which one I got here. I did the same thing with it. I just laid it down on there and traced around it. You can see my stencils. I have used them because I have used them a lot. As you can see how much paint they have on them. See how dark they are? I've used them a lot. But I took that one, wherever it is here, and I lay it down the same way. See, this is a good one. I've had these for so long, and I'm not sure. Okay, creativeartslifestyle.com. That's Patricia Rollins, I think is her name, that owns that website. And I like these because they've got so much different stuff on one sheet. So you got a cat, and you just use them in pieces. But I got these from her probably 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't realize, this one's 2011, so I've had it a long time. I probably didn't buy it in 2011, but that's when it's made. But it's creative, C-R-E-A-T-I-V-E, arts, A-R-T-S, lifestyle, L-I-F-E-S-T-Y-L-E.com. And you'll find her online. And she has a lot of painting supplies. So she has a lot of stencils and a lot of other stuff on her website too. So these are good ones to have. See, here's another one that's all mixed up. And it's got trees and ghosts and just all different kinds of mixed pieces on it. All these heavier ones. Now these I probably got on Amazon, but they're very thin. I like these thicker paper better than plastic than I do these thin ones. You have to be very careful with them. But her other ones, this one says if the shoe fits. It's got a couple of witches on it. It's got stars, a cat, a black cat. So it's got a whole lot of different pieces on it. But you can buy a few of them, and then you can keep them for years to come, use them over and over and over. And then you got, see, this one's all bats, and I have really used it. You can see on that side. But I have really used that one a lot. It's all bats. Okay. So I did the same with both. I lay them down and started, you know, put trace the pattern on with my pencil, okay? Then the boo I just wrote the boo on there. I did block letters. You'll see that's block letters. See how those blocks are on there? And I just wrote that on. I didn't take the time to, you know, to have to trace that. I just wrote it on there. And I'm going to put some little pumpkins that I cut out of those, my little pumpkins that I cut out of that sheet. I'm going to use those because they got a face on them. And rather than paint them on, I'm just going to decoupage them down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint the moon. I'm going to paint my moon yellow. Brush over here. It's hot in here today. When I run that air conditioner, you can't hear. So I've just drew me a circle. Just a circle about a little bit bigger than a 50-cent piece here. And I'm going to fill it in with yellow. All the Halloween stuff that I have painted so far this year and listed on my Etsy, I've sold. I sold that thing we done out of the old clock. That went right away. I sold the tea set. I've sold the tea kettle. So everything is sold just as soon as I put it on there. Just trying to keep my circle in there. You'll have to paint the yellow in a couple of times to get it to cover good. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry. Hey Linda, glad to have you, and Pam too. Glad you joined us, girls. See, I've just painted the moon on there. Now I'm going to let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to go around to the other side here, and I'm going to put me a scraggly tree on there. And that's the tree, like I told you before. There's no tree that's wrong. And this one I want kind of witchy looking, so you want the limbs and the branches and stuff to be squiggly and like a thing. So I'm just going to start right here to the bottom, right here on the bottom of this, bottom of my tea kettle. Let me get me a little bit bigger brush. You need a brush with pretty good flat end because you're going to pull up and bring it to a point. Let's try this, start with this big one. So I've just done that. I'm going to start right here and just start at the bottom and pull that up right from the bottom of the pan. Pull it up on the other side and make the bottom of the tree. See, I've just started in with the bottom of the tree, and then I'm just going to pull it up. As I come up, I will turn my brush on the point. Turn it, come up to a point, and bring that right up into a, see, just right up like so. Then I will come in here and just off of that, I will put some branches and pull them out there. And I'm going to go down to a smaller brush now that I got that base in there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go in here and just put me some little squiggly lines out from that tree till I get some branches on it. So you just pull, start with a flat, pull it up, turn it up on a point, bring it to a point at the top. And you can put as much stems and things on it as you want, as you just desire to put on there. There's nothing says you have to do it a particular way, or you just get it on there. And you can practice trees on some paper. Go right up around the moon there a little bit with that tree branch. Pull it out, turn it down, bring your branches down. As you pull out branches, just kind of wiggle them a little bit till they chop off. You can always set a cat or something on a branch, tree branch that you got in there. You can just set you a cat or something, a mouse or something up on it. Okay, see? Just painted a tree on there. Now when that's dry, I'll go back and put just a little bit of white streaks in it. Okay, just a little bit of white highlight. Now I'm going to jump back over there and fill my moon in again. It's dry enough for me to paint it in again. Okay, yep, you could put an owl in this tree too, Debbie. Okay, I've got my moon on there now. Now, I think I will go down to a little bit smaller brush and we'll stick a few little clouds in around there. So I need some white. Put a little bit of white on my palette to pull me out, put me in a few clouds. And I need a brush. This time I want a brush that's about half wore out. That the, you know, it's not still flat on the end. This one's frayed out on the end. So this is what you use. This makes it like you're going to stipple it. Okay, so I'm going to load that brush a little bit, not a whole lot of paint, just a little bit. And I'm going to come in here and just kind of, I'm going to just kind of dibby dab it. Come up. And then pull out the bottom. Bring it up, tap it down, and drag out the bottom. See? Bring it up, tap it down. See? Tap, 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 tap. Go up or down, and then drag the bottom. And then right under that, I can set another cloud right under there by just making it a little stronger there and pull out on the bottom. If your bottom color gets too light, then put a little bit of that purple in there or something. See? Now that puts a little cloud in there. Now let's jump around here to the other side and put another one. This is just a play thing. You just go in there and whatever you want to stick in there, you got it. Hey Sherry, how are you? Just tap it and then drag. Clouds are, you know, all different shapes and sizes. But the bottom, you always have to drag the bottom out now. Drag it out so it just kind of fades. And like I said, if your color gets too strong on the bottom, pick up a little bit of that purple or whatever you've got under there and mix it with your white. Let me put a little bit of purple on my thing so I can use it if I need to. This purple is so thick, I have a hard time getting it out of the bottle. See, I would take my brush, touch over in the purple just a little bit, and then just drag right underneath that. So that just mix a little bit of that purple in with that white cloud. And streak those clouds right on down till you just kind of fade them out. See, now I've got those set over on that side. So we've got some on each side of that thing. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my moon and I'm going to use a little bit of orange. Doobie Dag's very technical. Yep, it is. Just like doodle is when you're doodling, you know, that's what you're doing when you're painting too. Okay, now I forgot what I was doing. Okay, I'm going to shade the moon. I'm going to use a little bit of painting medium in my orange, and I'm going to shade one side of it. So I'm going to use the flat of the brush, pick up a little bit of medium, Put a little orange on that corner, blend it on my palette, and then I'm going to go down this right side here, right down the right side of the moon. I'm going to shade. See, I'm making that just shade, and it just fades out into the moon, but I'm darkening that bottom side. It'll come around, and then because you've got it blended on your brush, it'll just shade and fade right out for you. See, now I've got a shade in that side of the moon, and I'm going to put a highlight, wipe my brush, pick up a little bit of medium, a little bit of white, and go just the opposite up here and lighten the other side. And then I'm going to put a witch in the moon. Now, while I've got that white on my brush, I'm going to go over here and hit the branches of this tree with just a few little streaks here and there. Just turn my brush kind of on the chisel and come down in there and strike those little branches just a little so you get some color in there. See, it put just a little bit of color in my tree branches. Okay? Now I'm working right on around. And I'm going to go around here, and I'm going to pick, let's see, I had that, what color that boo was on my paper. What did I do? Oh, here it is. Okay, the first part of the boo, let's see, they've got orange. Let's see, I'm going to paint the boo in, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of color in that boo. I'm going to paint the bee, which you can choose your whatever colors you want them to be. So I'm going to paint the bee with orange, just the orange. And that orange is too transparent, so I'm going to have to go to a different shade of orange. I'm going to go with our dark orange. Here it is. I'm going to go with this orange that we use on the outside of the things because it's a darker shade. This is called burnt orange, because that other one's not showing up. And I'm going to paint the bee. The bee for boo, make it orange. Okay. Connie, glad to see you in here. If you got any questions, girls, pop them in there. Okay, I've got the bee in there, and I'm going to make the next one. I'm going to put these O. We'll start it with white because I'm going to put some stripes in it or some cobwebs. So I'm going to do the next little, the O, white. So we do them different colors. And I just took my white pencil and just wrote these on there free-handed in just a block letters. And they may grow a little bit as you're painting them, which is no big deal. Okay, now I'm going to let those dry. I've got the B and 2 O's on there. Now, I'm going to be sure to sign that, you're a creative work of art. Debbie, I used to sign everything, but that gets to be so, you forget, you forget. And a lot of times, like when I'm at the show and people come, and then a lot of times now people, if they email me or something and want something, they say, be sure you sign it. And a lot of times at the show, I keep a pen handy there when I'm at the show because they'll go to buy something and they'll say, I'm buying this, but I'd like you to sign it. So I'll go in and sign it. Okay, now I'm going to go over here to my little black cat I've got here, and he's going to be all black. So I've just went down to a smaller brush and I'm going to paint him in with the black. And he's kind of a spooky. He doesn't, you know, look much like a cat, but you'll see when he's on there. He's a Halloween cat, so he's kind of spooky looking. He's holding up a broom, and on the other side, I don't know what that's supposed to be, a witch's hat. We'll make it into something, but I'm just taking my little tiny brush and going to feel, because all I'm going to do with these black things is just fill them in. He's got a tail. These are all one of a kind, because there's hardly a way you can do two just alike, because tea kettles are all, whatever you're doing them on, you know, usually different. And you're going to be jumping around back and forth and painting it to match the piece you're working on, whether it's a teapot by the shape and stuff, so you'll hardly ever have, you know, two that's exactly alike. That's an ugly little cat, I'm telling you. He's dancing. He's got his leg up in the air and he's dancing, and one leg's bent. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and paint the stem of his broom. Paint it black too. He's got a broom in his hand. Okay. See there? He's just a little cat with his leg bent over and a broom in his hand, and he's got something in the other hand. I don't know what that is. I'm going to put a string on it and call it a witch's hat, so I'm going to paint it like it's a hat. But he's just chasing the moon. Chasing somebody with a broom. Okay, so we got him on there. Now we've got the tree over on this side, and we got the moon. Now I'm going to go around here to the other side where I've got the witch down here, and I'm going to fill her in. This is a witch in her pot. She's stirring a pot. Yeah, he is an evil looking cat. Check and see what bottles. Dana, I know that, honey. I'm just so far behind. I've got some bottles, girls, but I just have to, you know, my junk is still in my carport from a yard sale. And I'm trying. I'm going to try to get you some out. But you just, you know, it's got to be just as I can get them out to get them to you. This is a little cauldron that's sitting up on the stems. I'm going to put some fire underneath it when I get it painted. So, and then the witch is standing there stirring the pot. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go to, let's get her hands and stuff in, then I might go to a smaller brush. There's her. Get her shape of her face in, and I'll fill that other in with a bigger brush because that takes so long. I always just leave these things black, because if you try to paint a witch on there and do all those different colors and stuff, you'd be painting forever in there too. She's got her arm up over her thing. She's dropping something into her pot that she's cooking. We'll put some dots up there to show she's putting something in the pot. Okay. Now I'm going to go to a little bit bigger brush so I don't have to work so hard. I'll try my best to get those bottles together before I go on vacation. Try to make a point to do that. Haven't took a vacation in years and years to really call a vacation, so. And my girls are so good, girl. They don't, they don't ask for much, and they know that with Papa sick and with me working and then being as old as we are, it's hard to just get out and go spend the day at Dollywood and stuff. It's hard to do that. So, and I told them, I said, well, we'll just take off, because Morgan was going to fly, but that turned out she can't fly. They wouldn't let her fly with the airlines we have. They have the Allegiant, which takes you straight to the, down there, just to one thing. It's less than an hour to fly, and that's what I was going to send her on, so she wouldn't be on very long. But they won't let her fly until she's 15 or older. So, okay, there's my witch. See there? You can tell she's a witch. Now, I need to put another coat of white. I have Newt going in the witch's spot. It might be. I'm going to put another coat of white inside my boo so it'll brighten it up. Okay, got another coat in there. Now let's see, let me find me a witch to put in the moon. I can stencil her in. So let me look over here and see where I got a little witch. One of these pages has a little tiny witch on it that I usually use. Okay, there she is. So I've got a little bitty witch here. Let's see which one. I got 2 or 3. Let's see which one fits the best. Okay, that one. Now this time I'm just going to go ahead and use my stencil brush and hold it on. Let me get me a brush. Let's see what I got there. Look back here and find me a brush, girl. Okay, maybe that one will do. Okay, I'm going to lay my stencil right across the moon, and I'm going to stencil that little witch in there. Now, being as my tea kettle is rounded, I'm going to have to do it like a little section at a time, because I've got to turn my stencil as I go. See, I've got it laid on there, but I'm going to have to turn it So I'm going to do a little bit of paint on my brush. I'm not going to put very much paint on my brush because I don't want it to run underneath that. Always tap it on your paper. Then I'm going to start right in here and put her head in first. Then work my way right on down. That saves a lot of time if you can use the stencil and get it in there good. Now when you're working on a flat surface, you can always use your stencil. But working on these rounded surfaces makes it a little bit harder to use that stencil. Now I got to pull her hand down there and put her hand on, and I got it done. And you can go back in with your brush and touch up the spots. Okay, yep, I got her on there. Now I want to, I don't like the marks that the stencil leaves, the little, they have cuts in a stencil. So I'm going to go back in with a small brush and I'm going to connect all those little lines. See, when they cut a stencil, they have to leave little holes in that stencil where things, to join that stencil together. So I'm going to go back in and paint those, fill those in and make it solid. There's just a few little places. One on her body there and one on her arms. And I'm going to pull the tail of her dress out a little bit. Her dress is blowing in the wind behind her. Her witch's costume. And I want it to be real long. Okay, now I've got her in there. See, she's sitting in the moon. And the witches, see now the cat works along with the witch. They're kind of working together. Okay, now I need something. Over here I'm going to put those pumpkins. I've got 3 little pumpkins that I cut out here with, or jack-o'-lanterns. They've got faces on them. So I'm going to go right here where the tree's at, get my decoupage glue, my Mod Podge, and I'm going to place those 3 little pumpkins right here together. I've got them, they're all just about 3 different sizes. So I'm going to go right here with the first one. Now you could paint these on if you wanted to paint them on, but I see no reason to spend the time painting them when I can just stick them on there. So I've got one, put a little underneath it, a little glue on there underneath it, and then I'll put a little glue on top of them after I get them all on there. Take my thumb and push them down. One of them's going to go right over there to the tree. Okay, see there? Got 3 little pumpkins there, quick without having to paint them on there. That's a good thing about decoupage. You get the same look, same effect, but you don't have to sit there and paint all that. That's why I like to combine the two. Some things I like painted, some I like decoupage. Now see, it's beginning to look, see how we're beginning to look there? We've got the pumpkins, we've got the witch, we got to put a little bit of shading, we've got the boo there, we need something right in here. So let's see what we got now. We might go to something that we can cut out, or we might put, okay, let's see. I think I'm going to cut out this little black cat I've got here. I've got a little black cat. And I'm going to cut that out and set it right there underneath that tree. I like to use pieces, you know. I like to use, yeah, I'm missing bats. I ain't got my bats on yet. The bats will be the last thing. The bats and the stars will be your last things put on there. We'll put stars on it, and then other little dots and things, and your bats will go on last. We can glue the bats on, or you can paint them on. But this one, I'll probably just paint them on. Now, I don't want any white paper, so when you're cutting this out like this, you got to make sure you get all like inside his legs there. If I was working on a white surface, I could leave that in there, but since I'm not, I have to cut all that out. All that's around his tail here, all that has to come out. It's hard to do, get that inside there. Now I've got to get up here. I may have to cut his tail off and paint his tail on. See, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put a cat on there with no tail, and then I'm going to paint his tail on there. Okay, I'm going to put this little black cat right over here underneath this tree, right close to the tree. Now when he dries a little bit, I'll go back and paint the color trim around him so none of that white shows, and I'll paint his tail on. So I've got him sitting right there under the tree. Now, I think we've got some rats over here on my stencil that will go on there good. Some mouse. Here's a mouse. I'm going to turn him up here. I've got a mouse. Let's see, I want the bigger one. Where'd the bigger one go? Okay, here he is. I'm going to put it right down here where I can hold on to it and hold that down there. And I've got a mouse. Use my stencil brush and put that mouse in there. And you might know I picked up the wrong brush, and this one's wet, so I've got to dry it. You have to have a dry stencil brush, girls. You can't stirring the pot, Dana, can really cause some problems, can't it? And we have a lot of pot stirrers in our life. Okay, let's get this back on here. Got to get him in place, so I'm going to have to hold him down here to get him in place. Okay, now. Okay, now I've got a rat there. Now I've got eyeballs on this thing. I can jump up here, and I've got a little ghost. See, I've got a little ghost here. I'm just going to jump up here and put that little ghost right up here in these clouds. I like these kind of stencils that you can just use parts of them. Right up in that cloud, I'm putting a ghost. Just like anything else, the more you do, the better it looks. See, there's my ghost. Now I've got some eyeballs, some little spooky eyeballs on this stencil. My pen is magnetized and sticking to that tea kettle. Let's see what else I've got on here. Put some eyeballs right up here on the top, like a ghost eyes. That one on. And I've got a, see if I can put that chain. See right here, I've got a chain, like a long chain there. I'm going to put that on there. It really doesn't matter what you put on there, because with Halloween, it's just a mix of a lot of different things. So that's what I'm doing, just a lot of different pieces. And you'll use your bats as fillers, where you just need a little something, you'll go back in, and that's where you'll put your bats. Okay, now see, I've put a chain in there. So I've got a chain. He's looking pretty good. See, now we've got We've got a tree. We've got a black cat we have to finish. We've got the witch in the moon and the cat. And then we got a little space right in here. Let's see what we can find, and then we got to finish the boo. So let's see what we can find to put in that little space right there. We've got a skull. We've got a dog. There's a dog at the moon. It's a cat. Okay, I've got a dog that's howling at the moon. I'm going to put him right down here. So I'm going to put him over here with the cat so you can see that he's looking at the moon. These stencils are easy to bend, so you can hold on to them pretty easy, the way they're made. These tea kettles I sell for $50, girls. So if you're doing shows, you can, once you get them finished, varnished. Now see, I've put a dog in there. He's right behind the cat, that little dog is. And I'm going to put me something right in here, and then we'll be ready to put the bats in. I've got a little skeleton head. Let's see if I've got it, if he's small enough right here. We'll put him right there. Okay, I think I've got all the main things on there. Now, I'm going to go back and finish out my boo. And I'm going to put some stripes across the white. I'm going to put some black stripes across the O's. So I went down to a liner brush, picked me up a little black paint, and I'm going to go in here and just put me a little stripe across that O. Just to give them a little more color. And my bee, let's see, the bee had cross hatches in it, so we'll just do that too. So these I'm going to put lines in, but I'm going to make them like cross hatching, coming down, and then I'll go right back the opposite direction. Got that one in. Now I'll turn it around and come down this way. Okay, now there's my boo. Just puts a little bit of color in him. Okay, now I got to put some fire under her pot. So I'm going to mix a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow and make me like a flame. So I'm putting out just a smidge of red there, just enough to smear on the paper. And I'm going to take a flat brush and load that with some of my red, and then I'm going to go over here and hit it with the yellow just a little bit. And I'm going to go right around where that witch has got the pot there, and right underneath there I'm just going to pull and lift till it looks like there's a flame underneath that pot. It's burning under there. The yellow puts the little streaks through it, so it shows she's got a fire burning. Okay, we got a fire under the pot. Now she's got dropping something in. I need to clean my brushes. I'm just going to take the wood into my brush. Get rid of this before I knock it over. Take the wood into my brush, and I'm going to go right in here where she's dropping that, and I'm going to start with dots. Big dots at the top, and let them come down till they get smaller, right down to her pot, so that whatever she's dropping in there is reaching that pot she's cooking in. See? That just shows she's dropping something, just lit it up. Now I'm going to take a streak or two and put a little tiny bit of white on my corner of my brush, and I'm going to put a streak or two down the witch. Just here and there a little bit, just a little highlight stroke. See, I highlighted her, just hitting that a little bit. I'm going to hit the very top of that dog. Just come along the dog and hit it a couple of times. Same way with the cat. Just a stroke here and there. Hit the cat a little bit. Already done that to the tree. Going to go over here and do this mouse the same way. Just hit it a couple of times with a little touch of white paint. Just something to show it's got a little highlight there. Nothing in particular. Okay, now let's see where I'm at. I need some black down underneath the whole thing. I need to set all these down on the bottom. What red did I use? Linda, that red is acrylic Liquitex. This is Liquitex acrylic, and they had these closed out at Hobby Lobby this past week, and they may still have some there. And I got these tubes of paint, which are usually $7 or $8. I got them for like $1.50, and I found 2 at my Hobby Lobby. They were a little bit different color red, but they worked. But this is Naphthol Crimson, and it's Liquitex Basics acrylics in the tube, and I like those for the reds. They're a much better red than what we get otherwise. I'm going to go in here and reinforce the things on this chain a little bit, just to even up my edges. Now I'm going to go back over here and hit this cat, and I'm going to put a tail on him. I'm going to just go right here to the cat and pull him a tail up. Just took it from the cat and come right up the back and make him a tail on there. And I'm going to make sure none of my white that I cut off of that there's no little white around those edges. I'll just go in and reinforce the edge of the cat so I get rid of all the white marks. Okay, now I'm ready to put a little bit of color. We need to shade a little bit. Let's see what kind of brushes I've got out here. I'm going to take my black, and right along underneath these pumpkins here, I'm going to start with the pumpkins, and I'm just going to reinforce the shading underneath them there to just kind of set them down a little bit. Make sure that's darker all along the bottom of the tea kettle. So that everything, I'm going to put some under the witch's feet, some of the black, some under the pot, the mouse. Everything's going to get set down a little bit with a little bit of shading so that it's not just hanging there in midair. Now the skeleton here, the skeleton head, I won't do that because he is hanging in midair. So this one, the dog, I'm over here to the dog, and I'm going to connect his tail where the stencil cuts was in him. I connected all of them. Come right underneath him and put some shading under there. Coming across with it, back and forth across. Same way with the cat. Put some, now under one foot, this foot's up in the air, so only one of his feet is on the ground. The other one is sticking up. See, he's holding his leg up, so I've only put one of them down. See, I went all the way around, and I put some shading under the mouse, under the witch, under the pumpkins. I just reinforced those shading marks. That looks pretty good, girls. Now I'm ready to do the bats. Okay, I'm going to take my liner brush. I'm just going to paint my bats in. So I'm going to take my liner brush and come in here and paint me some bats in. And if you can always just lay your bats down and look at them like this, just lay your sheet of paper. You've got some sheets with bats on them, I believe, girls. Just lay that down and look at them, and you can see how the bats are. But most of them have three, they have, their wings comes out three little C strokes, come 1, 2, 3, and then you go to the other side and put 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to come right down into the middle, put his ears on there, and then take it down and pull his body up and fill all that in. You can make some of them big, some of them little. See, there's my bat flying in the sky. You can make some little. Let's make it a little one now. Right down underneath that one, we'll put a little one going this direction. 3 little strokes. 3 little, see, I've got 3 little strokes in there. Then I turn it the opposite direction and put 3 more, starting with that middle one. Put 3 more little strokes over on this side. Then come in there and put his ears, which is just a little mark at the top. Then pull from those ears out to the end of his wings. And fill all that in. He's got 2 little pointed ears. And then he's just filled in solid. See, there's the other little one. He's got little points for his ears up there. You can see those. And I'm just going to go around and do those wherever I feel like I need a bat. I'm going to stick him in there. You could stencil these on with the bats I've got. With the bats, if you've got bats on your stencil, you can stencil these on. Or you can glue them on. You could cut your bats out of your thing and just glue them on. Sometimes you might make one so small that you just do the little strokes with it and leave it alone. 1, 2, 3. Make him a point for the head, and then just kind of like a bird, and just leave it. You know, just make a little tiny one like this, and he just kind of like a bird flying in there. Okay, let's put one over here. That one's got down in there where it's hard to get to. If you mess him up, just turn him into something else. As long as you got the point for their wings down there. See, I've got little bats all the way around that one. Got them around through here. We'll go right down in here and put one. Now, I may go back and put a few more bats, but I'm going to show you how to put the stars. There's stars in there, and you can put the stars on with a stencil, or you can paint them on. See, this is a stencil. This little stencil has all these little stars on it, and they're long. So if you don't have a stencil, you just take your brush, your little liner brush, and you can look at your, look at one of the stars. Let's see where I'm going to stick one. I'm going to put one right here on top of this tree. So really, it's hard for me to do it where you can see it. Okay. Okay, let's just lay this on here and see where we're going to put one, because they're different sizes. I'm going to put one right here in this tree. No, I don't have much place to put stars, but it's 3 little prongs. There's 1, 2, 3. See right here how I've put 3 little prongs there. Then the bottom is stretched out. The bottom, the last one of your star, stretches down long. See, puts me a star in there. Now I'm going to take these. I'm going to go ahead and take this one that I've got on here and stencil a couple on. I'll stencil this one right here. Using my white paint. It's not a very good stencil brush that I got there. And that one, this stencil brush is lousy. Okay, that one's wet. Should have got me out some more brushes, girls. Here's one. Let's see what it does. Let's try this one. Okay, picking up a little bit of white and tap it on your paper a few times before you go on your board. Okay, that one's working. Okay, now this star has 4. See that one I put on there? That's a bigger one. I'm going to go right down in here and put 1. This is a little one. And let's put a little one up here. You could do as many of these as you want. You know, you sit here and do stars over and over and over all over the thing. See, I've put stars all the way around through there. I'm going to go around to the other side and put a few. Okay, the other side, that's this side. Okay, let's go around here and put in a few. I will spackle this with black. My toothbrush and some black paint is what I will put on the last thing. Okay, and start down here. That one I kind of lost. I'll have to go back and paint that one a little bit. He's a little lopsided. Okay. I've got a couple there that got a little lopsided on me, so I just go back in with my liner brush and fill them in a little bit. This one's a little... I hear the sirens from out on the street. Okay, I think we're about done with him. He looks pretty good. See? Lots of color on it. You want some color on there besides just the black and the color of your thing, you know, so you want to do some. It's thundering at your house. No, it's not thundering here, Debbie. I just heard the sirens. Yes, Linda, I painted the lid. I'm going to show you. This is my lid, and the only thing I'm going to do to the lid, I painted the lid purple and the black on the top, and I'm going to put some dots around it. That's all I'm going to do to the lid. Take the wood into my brush and some white paint. If you wanted, you could put some bats on the lid, but it's kind of purple. You could put some stars. Let me find my stylus. I got paint in the top of that. Boy, I'm real organized today, ain't I? You get so much stuff out underneath you here, you don't even know what you got. Okay, I'm going to put out a little bit of paint, fresh paint for when you're making dots, because you want fresh paint out there. Then I'm going to take the wood into my stick, and I'm just going to go around the top of this with a row of dots. One little thing will make about 3 dots. And I painted it with the purple. You can get you some Halloween ribbon and put ribbon on the handles when you get them finished. When you spray it with the varnish, the colors it just brings all the colors forward, and they just pop for you when you put your varnish on. It looks a world different. And like I said, these on my Etsy page sell for $50 plus shipping. The shipping, if you notice, shipping went up this week, but priority mail, I ship everything priority. Priority didn't go up. They changed first class mail. What they did call first class is now called USPS ground something or other. So that changed a little bit. And the media mail, I think all the others that they was giving you a good deal on, they changed them all to kind of match priority mail, which is sad, but postage stamps, but it went up. Okay, that's really all I'm going to do to the lid. Just gives it a little bit of accent. If you wanted, you could go in there and put some bats on there. But see, now you don't notice that those colors. See, now this is the one we painted. Is that no? That's not the one. Where's the one we painted today? I'm going to show you the difference. It's going to look streaked when you're first putting all them colors on there. See, you're going to see all this streaky stuff, and some of it looks like clouds. But you're not going to see all that once you get all this on it. See, once you get all the stuff on there, the clouds and all the decorations and stuff on, then it covers all this up, and that just fades into the background, which is what you want it to do. So that makes a difference. So when you're looking at this, and when I done my first one, I thought, now that'll look awful. You know, I can't do anything with that, make it look good. But then too, if you want to go back and change these colors a little bit after it's dry like it is now, go back and add some colors or change some of your colors on there that you want to, and paint this black, paint this little spout black, and paint your handle black, unless you want them a different color. And I painted the lid purple. See, I've got one coat of paint on that purple lid, and when I get that one done, it'll look just like this one when I get everything on it. It'll have different stuff on it, and those little pumpkins turned out great on there because they're jack-o'-lanterns. They've got a face in them. And practice your trees. You can practice your trees on paper. That little dog is howling. He looks like he's just sitting there howling right at them bats and that cat, so that cat will get out of his way. Okay? And if you want you some stencils, go online and look for you some stencils. But now that, what I told you, her name, she's got some good stencils. The first ones I bought were from her. And she does a lot of other things. I've bought a lot of big stencils. I used to stencil signs and stuff when I did the shows, and I've got a lot of big stencils from her that I need to get rid of. Some of my stencils, Dana, like I said, come from Amazon. I bought stencils from Amazon. I bought some on Etsy. I'll put a link in for Patricia Rollins' site this evening. I'll go in there and look in. But these good stencils with all the mixed stuff on them, her name is, let's see if it's on this one. Okay, this is a different one. This one says H-A-N-T-E-D. Okay, this one says, can't read that. Okay, this one says it's from the Haunted Hollow. So that might have been one that come from, no, Stencil R12. StudioR12.com is where these come from, some of them. And some of them come from the Creator's Studio, which is Patricia Rollins' studio. I'll look on there this evening and give you a link to the stencils, because like I said, I've had mine for years. See, this one's got a lot of little stars. This one's got a lot of little stars. It's got shoes on it, cats. It's got the words there that says if the shoe fits, and here kitty kitty, and this one says fly away. It's got witches, 2 different size witches on it. But I'll see if I can find them online again, and I'll give you a link, put you a link in there to be able to order you some stencils. But now these little blue ones, which are not as good, but they work. You know, they're just, the plastic's a lot flimsier and you have to be careful with them. But they don't have a, see, it's got a, okay, here is this one. It says Moonlight Creations Stencils. And it's from Ohio. Westerville, Ohio. They probably got a website. These has got some pretty designs on them, but they're real flimsy. So you have to be a lot more careful with them. And then the tea kettles or whatever I'm doing on. Now I did one, I found these little buckets at Hobby Lobby this week with the sale, and I've got them painted, but they come with ridges on them. These buckets, it's not flat, and I thought that would be hard to get the colors in, the purples and all the colors in there, so I decided just to do these in orange, but I will stencil and do the same kind of designs on them. And I bought these at Hobby Lobby. They were 65% off, and I bet I don't have a tag on either one of them. So I'm sure they were less than $10. They were probably $8. Yeah, they must have had a tie tag on them. But they were in the all the summer merchandise. All the what they call summer is 68% off, and you will find these in there. And I'm going to leave that color